Stop. But duration. 2 seconds. Speech off.
Hi everybody, so this is going to be a different chapter. It's going to mention some serious topics, if things about mental health and mostly mental health, like get you riled up and things that would be traumatizing to you would rile you up. I suggest that maybe you skip the first few minutes of the chapter. It's going to be something that happens to another character in the book, so it's not going to be a big part of the chapter. It's not going to affect the story very much, but I just felt that it would be considerate to at least drop it in here. I've been reading a book on something lately, and I realized that, trigger warnings are very important. I thought that it would just be decent of me to just at least drop it in here. I used to be like, oh, why are they always dropping these things in here, but I've been to the emergency room so many times, and after the thing that happened to the main character, I said, maybe I should have put something in there too. So, this whole book could be triggering to someone losing their sight. It could be bringing back a lot of stress, things like that. So, we never know. You just never know what someone's going through, and I think that's what a trigger warning is supposed to do. You just never know what someone's going through, and just to be respectful of that. So we're going to go on to chapter 17, and it's called Perspective. Oddly, a group of adults was clustered outside Natalie's room when she arrived back at school. As she and Serena walked warily down the hall to the dormitory hall, carrying their duffels and backpacks from the weekend at home, the evening counselor rushed forward to stop them. "It's all right," the counselor assured the girls, nevertheless turning and guiding them back to the living room. "But what happened?" Natalie asked, glancing over her shoulder. Is it Gabriella?" Serena asked. "Did she try to commit suicide or something?" There was an exasperated sigh. "No," the counselor said. "She did not try to commit suicide. I'll thank you to keep a lid on your comments, okay?" "Natalie," the counselor said, I'm going to have you spend the night in Paula's room. Is Bree all right? She asked. "We'll explain later, okay?" was the response. "Another room? Without her things?" Disappointed, Natalie turned, adjusting the duffel strap on her shoulder, and followed the dorm counselor. Paula was already in bed, propped up on the pillows and listening to music on a CD player. Her wheelchair was parked against one wall, its large battery plugged in to an outlet, charging up for the following day. Beside the bed, on the floor, was a large rubber mat with a set of clothes neatly laid out: shorts, t-shirt, underwear, and socks. Paula pulled the earphones out of her ears. She tilted her head. Welcome, she said to Natalie. "Thanks, Paula. Sorry to intrude on you like this." No, I'm glad to have you." The counselor helped Natalie to make up the extra bed with clean sheets and a blanket. Natalie then took her pajamas to the bathroom to change. When she came out, she heard a giggle and thought she saw thought she saw Eve sitting on the end of Paula's bed with something on her lap. I've got cake, Eve whispered. Leftovers from my brother's birthday. Is this the party? Serena asked, coming in the door. Shh, Eve warned. Food was prohibited in the dorms. Serena closed the door, and Eve passed out chunks of cake on paper towels. Serena and Natalie sat cross-legged on the rubber mat beside the bed. So what do you think happened to Gabriella? Eve asked. Bree. She likes to be called Bree, Natalie said, using a finger to scrape some of the frosting from off her cake. Oh, I didn't know she had a nickname, Eve said. She should have told us, Paula added. I think she came back to school drunk, Serena declared. Paula was shocked. Oh, Lord. She can get kicked out for that, Eve said. Natalie was skeptical. Serena, how do you know she was drunk? I don't. I'm just guessing, Serena said, shrugging. And so what if she was? Haven't any of you guys been drunk before? Silence for a moment. No, Paula said. I had beer once, Eve added, but I didn't get drunk. So what about you, Nat? You ever been drunk? Serena giggled. No, of course not. Of course not, Serena echoed. You're too perfect, you know that? Natalie did know it. Even her friends back at Western Allegheny High kidded her about being perfect. But they didn't understand why Natalie skipped the Friday and Saturday night parties. She didn't stay home because she didn't want to drink. She didn't go because it was nighttime, and she couldn't see. In the morning, Natalie was awakened by the jolt of Paula's alarm. Reaching over the desk beside her, Natalie pressed the button on her watch. The time is 6:00 a.m. 6:00? There was at least another hour to sleep. Sorry if I woke you, Paula apologized through the darkness. It's all right, Natalie replied sleepy and confused. There was not enough light in the room for Natalie to see, but she heard Paula roll off her bed and onto the mat with a heavy thump. The girl groaned, and there were rubbing noises. Paula crawling? And Natalie realized that this must be her morning routine. Slowly, Paula made her way across the room, disappearing into the bathroom. She didn't close the door, and Natalie could tell by the sounds that Paula had gotten herself up onto the toilet and then flushed it. Natalie next heard water running. Had Paula managed to stand up at the sink? The sound of a wash tub dipped and the sound of a washcloth dipped and wrung out in water, a sink emptying with a gurgle, and teeth being brushed confirmed it. A good 30 minutes had passed, Natalie guessed, when Paula crawled back toward her bed. Natalie turned on the light, put her glasses on, and sat up. "Can I help you?" she asked. "Oh, no, I'm fine," Paula replied. On all fours and grunting with effort, Paula made it to the rubber mat and collapsed. After a few deep breaths, she rolled over onto her back and began to dress. Which is why, Natalie realized, the clothes had gotten laid out the night before. By 7:15, just as Paula was securing her leg braces with Velcro, Natalie was dressed, too. She finished packing up her books and sat on her bed, watching as Paula pulled herself into her wheelchair. "It's not fair," Natalie said. "What?" Paula asked, while still trying to catch her breath. "What's not fair?" "That you have to be in a chair, and that your eyesight is bad. But they're related, you know. The CP, the cerebral palsy, it affects my muscles, and we have muscles around our eyes too. I do this every morning, unless my muscles lock up. Then I need to wait for Miss Riley to come and get me undone. One night, I got stuck behind the bed." Slowly, Natalie shook her head. "You've got such a great attitude about it, Paula." "Yeah, I try not to get down about it. I know it's how you look at it. Perspective. Miss Kravitz says it's all about perspective. That no matter how bad off you are, there's always somebody worse off than you. So be grateful. And I am, still. Sometimes I do get the blues. I call it my blue funk." Just then an aide knocked softly on the door and came in, greeting the girls. Natalie assumed this must be Miss Riley, Paula's aide. The woman checked to see that Paula was buckled in properly, and then unplugged the wheelchair's battery from the wall. "All set?" she asked. "All set," Paula replied. She pushed the joystick with her right hand and maneuvered the motorized wheelchair through the door. "Natalie," Miss Riley said, "if you could just stay behind a second. I want to talk to you about your roommate." Is Bree okay?" Natalie asked. "She had a seizure last night. That's why we wanted someone else to stay with her for the night. She has her seizures from time to time. They're from injuries related to her accident. We just wanted to tell you that. If you think that she's having a seizure, you should get help immediately." "How would I know she's having a seizure?" Natalie asked. "You'd know. She kind of spaces out and shakes uncontrollably." "Is there something I could do for her right away?" "Sure. You could help her by getting her down on the floor and loosening up any tight clothing near her neck. But most importantly, get some help." "Of course," Natalie replied. "Thanks, hon. Well, I'll let you get on your way to breakfast." Natalie nodded, picked up her backpack, and opened her cane. Feeling humbled, she left the room and followed Paula down the hall. Later that day in gym class, Mr. Lee added yet another thought about perspective. The number one reason people are victims is that they are nice, the karate instructor declared. They don't want to offend anyone. Everyone teaches children to be nice little girls and boys, he continued, his voice again echoing in the gym. But this can get in the way of your intuition, your gut feeling. You need to pay attention to that gut feeling. He talked about setting boundaries. Draw a circle around your personal space and make it clear that this is your space. 2 ways you can do this, Mr. Lee told them. Verbal and physical. Verbal means you say something. If someone takes your arm and wants to help you, poor blind person across the street, but you don't want to cross that street, then you need to say loud and clear, thank you, but I don't need your help. If they don't let go, then you have to be more forceful. Twist your arm away. Yell at them. I do love to yell. Take your hands off. Let go of me. Your voice is important, Mr. Lee emphasized. Practice making your voice strong and loud. Yes, nice little children are taught to be quiet and soft-spoken. But blind people, it's important for you to use a strong voice. Okay, he clapped his hands together. Let's practice saying this. Stop! Leave me alone! Everyone! Stop! The girls shouted together. Leave me alone! Louder! Mr. Lee cried. I want you to take in a big breath and push those words up from your belly. Again. Stop! Leave me alone! The girls hollered again, their voices filling the small gym and bouncing off the walls. Good. Now, what did the book say about telling a lie? Mr. Lee asked. Serena's hand flew up. The book says it's okay for blind people to lie. A few of the girls chuckled. It's true. It's true. Serena went on to explain. The book says that if you're at the bus stop and a stranger asks if you can see faces, he may be trying to scope out if you're an easy hit. Maybe you won't be able to recognize him later, but he could be a serial killer or a rapist or just some weirdo. Don't feel like you have to answer somebody's dumb questions with the truth all the time, especially if the question is making you uncomfortable. Excellent, Mr. Lee exclaimed. Pretty soon, we get physical. Things kind of fell into a routine about then. Bree seemed to be trying more, and Natalie wasn't quite as homesick, even if she still looked forward to daily phone calls to and from home. How's the cat? She asked her mother one night. Does he still wait outside the milk room for his scraps every morning? There was a pause. Actually, we haven't seen the cat for a while, her mother said. But he's wild, Natalie. You know how they are. Natalie was sad to hear the cat had disappeared. A guy caught in the 51 carp in deep. A guy caught a 51-pound carp in Deep Creek lake, her father suddenly recalled. He probably didn't want her moping about the cat. Everyone's talking about that. Everyone's talking about that. Hey, and the Stellars. Oh, hey, and the Steelers won last night. I bet the kids were excited. Actually, Dad, the kids here are all Ravens fans. Natalie had to tell him. Remember? Most of them live in Baltimore. Oh, gosh, he replied. He sounded disappointed. Her mother jumped in next to respond what the cousins were doing. Uncle Jack says Florrie. And Tiffany helped tag monarch butterflies so scientists can track their flight to Mexico, she said. Isn't that something? Those little things flying all that way. Then midway through the week, there was a call from Meredith. Nat, I wanted to tell you something really exciting. I've been asked to the homecoming dance this year with a senior. Can you believe it? Natalie, homecoming? Wow, Meredith, that's wonderful. Natalie forced herself to sound cheerful. She had never been to a formal dance herself. Who's taking you? Meredith, that guy who took us to the lake last weekend, remember? Richard. Except everyone calls him Richie. Natalie, Richie? Meredith, Richie Mangler. Richie Mangler? He's on the basketball team. Maybe you can come to a game this winter if you get home earlier. Enough on Friday. Yeah, so it's exciting, but now I have to find a dress. There's got to be something out there that look good enough. That will look good on me. Natalie, I'm sure you'll find the perfect dress. Meredith, look, I gotta go. Richie's calling at 8:30, and I need to get my homework done, or Mom won't let me talk. See ya. There was a click, and Meredith was gone. Thanks for calling, Natalie said Thanks for calling, Natalie said sarcastically into the dead phone. It was happening, wasn't it? Meredith was drifting away, and there wasn't anything Natalie could do to stop it. She was having a normal life, while Natalie was struggling to have a life, period. It wasn't anger Natalie felt right then, even jealousy, just an enormous wistfulness, a sadness. Bree, who sat on her bed practicing Braille, moved a piece of paper. Surely she had heard. Out in the hall, a door closed, and the sound of a cane hitting the wall echoed down the corridor. Hey, my aide gave me this book today. Hey, my aide gave me this book today, Bree said. Natalie rolled her eyes. She was not in a mood to chit-chat, but Bree got up and started patting the top of her desk. Here it is. She bumped into her chair, but walked across the room to Natalie and pushed the book into her hands. You have a little magnifier thingy to read, don't you? Bree, I need to be doing my homework. Come on. Bree urged her. My aide was reading this today, and it was really corny, but funny, too. Just open to a random page and read it. Natalie clicked on her light and focused on the title. 14,000 things to be happy about. She knew Bree was only trying to cheer her up because of the phone call. Opening to the middle of the book, she ran her finger down the page. A wan smile lifted the corners of her mouth. Dog's nose deep in wrapping paper, she read aloud. An herb-stuffed pillow. Leisurely bubble baths. Slices of fresh pineapple. Bengay. Bengay. I'm not sure what that is. Bengay muscle rub. Oh, I hate that. Oh, I hate that stuff. 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 Bree interrupted. Me too, Natalie agreed. Then she read the next one. Walking into your dreams and coming out a new person. And she stopped. You know, I have that dream. I dream sometimes that I can still see as well as I did a year ago. Like I'm running through the fields or chasing goats. I can see everything so clearly. You had good vision then? Bree said. Pretty normal until I was about 8 years old. Me too, Bree said. I had perfect vision until the accident in June. Now I have nothing. Natalie looked at her and saw that Bree was kind of hunched over on her bed, twisting strands of her long hair in her hands. I wanted to be a dancer. I wanted to be a dancer, Bree said. I took dancing lessons all my life. My mom was so proud of that. She's the one that started me out with tap dance lessons. It's like the one little dream I had, being a dancer. Then, one afternoon, one stupid thing, and it's over. I'm so sorry, Natalie said quietly. Let me know, do you guys think like Bree should have a Valley Girl voice or what? Because I kind of forget what voice I did for her before. Sometimes I wonder which would be worse, losing vision slowly, like me, or all at once, like you. Yeah. Bree nodded. I guess I know where the term blindsided came from. It might have been nice to get ready for this. It's been such a nightmare. Natalie disagreed. No, she said. Having time to get ready doesn't make it easier. No one couldn't possibly prepared to go blind. Another moment passed when neither of them spoke. Guess I'll go ahead and wash up for bed and do my eye drops, Natalie said. But walking across the room, she tripped over the balloon Meredith had given her. The helium was practically gone, and the balloon hovered, an eerie, metallic ghost, about an inch above the floor. Natalie reached down and grabbed it, then went to her desk for a pair of scissors, cut off its end, and stuffed the deflated balloon to the wastebasket. No matter. matter how bad off you are, there's always somebody worse off than you. So be grateful. It was probably good advice, repeating in Natalie's head. But right then, she wished she could have been one of those little butterflies flying to Mexico.